Right, picture this. It's the year 1513. A 44-year-old man, a former high-ranking government official, has his hands tied firmly behind his back. He's hoisted high into the air and just dropped, violently dislocating his shoulders. And this happens not once, but 6 times. But he confesses nothing. Why? Because there's nothing to confess. Stripped of absolutely everything, his wealth, his high status, his beloved city, he's exiled to this miserable dirt floor farmhouse out in Tuscany. Now, most people, they'd break. They drown in alcohol and just fade into the background of history. But not this man. He picked up a pen and wrote what is arguably the most ruthless, misunderstood, and brilliantly accurate manual on human nature ever created. His name was Niccolo Machiavelli. Welcome to this explainer on the survival playbook. Today, we're diving into a masterclass on dark psychology and absolute power dynamics. Now look, this isn't some dusty, boring history lesson. What we have here is an unearthed, almost forbidden manual for modern survival. For 500 years, Machiavelli's actual words have been hidden away or totally twisted by those in charge, because when you understand the real game being played, the people at the top lose their leverage. So today, we're literally ripping the mask off.
Here is the roadmap of the 6 brutal truths we are going to cover. We'll explore the ultimate power manual, the undeniable law of human selfishness, the epic battle between luck and skill, the masks you absolutely must wear, the hidden trap of comfort, and the absolute necessity of taking unapologetic action.
All right, diving right into section 1, the ultimate power manual. Let's look at how the rules were actually written. So by day, Machiavelli lived a completely mundane, almost humiliating life. We're talking arguing with woodcutters over pennies and playing cards in the mud. But by night, the whole story changed. He'd strip off those muddy clothes, wrap himself in royal robes, and step into the courts of ancient giants right inside his own mind. He absolutely refused to stay small. True power, as it turns out, doesn't come from your environment. It comes from forging an unbreakable internal mindset.
Moving to section 2, the law of human selfishness. This is really the core principle of everything that follows.
Here's the hard truth. The world does not run on fairness. It runs on self-interest. And people hear that and instantly think it's evil, but it's not. Selfishness is just like gravity. Gravity isn't evil, right? It's just a system. If you ignore it and step off a cliff, you're going to fall. But if you actually understand it, you can build airplanes. So we have to stop getting mad at human nature and start learning how to master the mechanics. Want proof? Just look at how fast the illusion of loyalty vanishes under pressure. Take 1494. The powerful Medici family had ruled Florence in total comfort for 60 years. But the very second King Charles VII invaded, they surrendered just to save their own skin. And within hours, literally hours, their so-called loyalists turned on them, looted their palaces, and banished them entirely. Human selfishness activates instantly when survival is on the line. Section 3. Fortuna versus Virtù. These are the literal mechanics of your destiny. Okay, I need you to completely forget the modern translation of the word virtue as just being a nice, polite person. Machiavelli's concept of virtù is raw, unapologetic power. It is the strategic cunning, the relentless energy, and the sheer audacity required to force circumstances to bend to your will. This is the kind of power that builds empires and pulls you back from the abyss. Machiavelli says your life is an absolute 50-50 split. On one side, you have fortuna. That's luck, the economy, global pandemics. It is a raging flood and you cannot control it. That's 50% of your destiny. But the other 50%, that is entirely your virtù. Most people waste their 50% seeking comfort. So when the flood hits, they have no dam built to protect themselves. You have to take control of your preparation. Look at Francesco Sforza back in 1401 as the perfect example. The guy had zero money and absolutely no royal blood, but he had immense internal virtù. He fought his way up, made brilliant strategic alliances, and ended up seizing total control of Milan. He didn't just sit around waiting for good luck. He built his power from the ground up. The lesson? Stop praying for better circumstances and start building an unbreakable foundation. Which brings us to section 4, the psychology of masks. It's time to talk about the surface world. We live in a world that completely judges the surface. People don't actually know your inner truth, right? They only know your reputation, your outward habits, the story they tell about you the second you leave the room. Showing your entire hand, laying everything bare to the world, that is a fatal mistake in the game of power. On the outside, you must appear merciful, loyal, and totally upright. Give them what they expect to see. But underneath all of that, Your internal machinery must be cold, calculated, and ready to pivot at a moment's notice. Sticking rigidly to just one behavior in a world that is constantly shifting is a death sentence. You have to master the mask. But wait, there is a massive trap here. Look at Agathocles of Syracuse. He rose to power using pure, unadulterated deception and cruelty. And sure, he won his wars, but he destroyed the actual trust required for long-term survival. The guy never slept peacefully. If your mask lacks real internal competence, the lie will eventually crush you. You have to become so undeniably competent that hiding your true self isn't a lie. It's just a high-level strategy. Section 5. Comfort destroys empires. Let's break down this inescapable historical cycle. Human nature drives this terrifying, inescapable cycle. Watch how this works. Hunger and struggle build power. That power then builds stable systems. Those systems create comfort. But that comfort, it breeds weakness. And weakness invites total collapse. The Western Roman Empire didn't fall just because barbarians showed up. It rotted from the inside out because comfort made them incredibly soft. And this isn't just ancient history, it's your life. You hustle, you make some money, you get stable, and suddenly, you just stop pushing. Comfort is not the reward for success. I'm going to say that again. Comfort is the enemy. It's like a lethal injection that puts you to sleep right when the world is out there sharpening its knives. Machiavelli's brutal solution? Actively seek out struggle. The discomfort that you are desperately trying to avoid right now is the exact thing required to keep you strong. And finally, Section 6. Take unapologetic action. This is the ultimate final law. You know who Machiavelli absolutely despised? It wasn't the ruthless tyrant. It was the passive spectator. The person just sitting around, waiting for the world to finally be fair to them. If you have a brain and hands, and you are just waiting, you are wasting your entire existence. Making a messy, completely wrong decision at least gives you data to work with. Waiting gives you absolutely nothing. So, the playbook is set. Accept and leverage the gravity of human selfishness. Completely dominate your 50% of control. Make sure your lethal competence matches your external masks. And hunt down your own comfort before it rots you from the inside out. Machiavelli was broken, exiled, and literally tortured, yet he built a legacy in the dark that easily outlasted every single one of his enemies. So I'm going to leave you with this one thought. Are you waiting on the world to hand you something, or are you actively building your power? Answer honestly, because it changes everything.